Stop trying to be heard. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. If you want to own the space without saying a single word, pay attention. This is the art of the bat, the event horizon. The threshold of a crowded room is more than a physical boundary. It is a psychological event horizon. As you step across it, you feel the friction of the environment. The air is thick with the scent of posturing and the frantic, unspoken need for validation. Most people surrender to the biological urge to justify their presence with a forced smile or a rehearsed sentence. In this moment of social desperation, they seek to be seen, yet through their noise, they become invisible. High status is never a product of volume. It is the gravity generated by a controlled presence. To master this ritual, we must first deconstruct the System 1 mistake. Most social interactions are governed by the amygdala, the reactive sentinel of the brain. When we enter high-stakes environments, our biology perceives social pressure as predatory encroachment. Our heart rate climbs, and System 1 demands we act to relieve the tension. This failure manifests as the explaining reflex. We speak because silence feels like a vacuum that might collapse upon us. We offer information not requested and laugh at jokes that aren't funny. This is a tactical error. By reacting, you signal that the environment is acting upon you. You are a variable being manipulated, not the architect. To reclaim your power, you must override this primal urge with cognitive stillness. Consider the archetype of the bat. When entering a landscape, he avoids frantic movement. He perches in the periphery, utilizing shadows for forensic data acquisition. This is encroachment literacy. While others broadcast their insecurities through verbal filler, the observer receives. By remaining silent, you engage in functional compartmentalization, separating your internal state from the external noise. Every second you remain without speaking, you reclaim effective sovereignty. True dominance is the ability to withstand the pressure of a quiet moment. When you refuse to fill the silence, you force the room to adapt to your tempo. You are no longer navigating the room, you are mapping it, identifying the power dynamics, the hidden anxieties, and the cracks in the armor of those who speak too much. You become the predator of information, the quiet center around which the chaos of the room orbits. This is how you own the space, by becoming the only person in it who doesn't need permission to exist. Stop being a social variable. If you're ready to master your internal landscape, hit that follow button right now. The architecture of silence. To transcend mere reaction, you must engage System 2, the slow, deliberate, and cold-blooded processor of the human mind. At this stage, we deploy the present silence. Make no mistake, this is not the quiet of the submissive or the weak. This is a proactive, heavy stillness, a sensory net cast over the environment to harvest intelligence while others are blinded by their own noise. When you intentionally withhold social lubrication, the reflexive nodding, the polite mm-hms, and the hollow small talk, you create a psychological vacuum. Because the human ego inherently abhors a vacuum, people will instinctively move to fill it. They will begin to leak. They will over-explain their positions, offer unsolicited details, or nervously adjust their posture, desperate for the validation of your acknowledgement. This is where your forensic scan begins. The forensic scan. Identify the leaky actors. Look for those whose external bravado is undermined by restless micro-gestures, capping fingers, adjusting collars, or shifting weight. Track the approval loop. Observe their eyes. Do they constantly glance toward the highest status person in the room for permission to breathe? Maintain zero response. By remaining a zero-response entity, your own status cannot be calculated by the group. You remain an outlier, existing entirely outside the suffocating threads of the established hierarchy. While your primal brain may mislabel this stillness as awkward, the higher brain recognizes that awkwardness is simply a tool of social engineering. It is the friction generated by refusing to follow the script of mediocrity. We occupy space with a total lack of urgency, utilizing the tactical intergap, a deliberate, calculated 3-second delay before providing any verbal response. In those 3 seconds, the person addressing you experiences a spike in cortisol. Their internal monologue begins to fracture. They wonder if they have offended you or failed the interaction entirely. By the time you finally choose to speak, the power dynamic has fundamentally shifted. You are no longer merely answering a question, you are granting an audience. Through this clinical noir lens, you treat the room as a grid. You are performing a psychological autopsy on the living, dissecting their motivations in real time, while everyone else is still wondering what to do with their hands. Test the 3-second pause in your very next conversation. Comment "bat" below if you are brave enough to hold the silence and watch the masks fall. The Sovereign Anchor, a study in post-heroic leadership. The observation phase concludes as the room's gravity shifts. You have moved from the periphery to the center without taking a single aggressive step. This is post-heroic leadership, a state where authority is not seized, but assigned to you by the environment because you refuse to participate in the frantic exchange of social validation. By remaining still while others scrambled for relevance, you have become the known unknown. When you finally break your silence, your voice must carry a low-frequency, calm resonance. Because you have mastered the strategic pause, your first words land with structural impact. You are not offering a mere opinion, you are revealing the sovereign narrative you observed while others were distracted by their own noise. You speak to the hidden tensions and the unspoken truths that others were too afraid to mention, acting as the mirror they didn't know they needed. This is the chiaroscuro of leadership, using the deliberate darkness of what you withheld to illuminate the stark reality of the present. This state is infinitely sustainable because it requires zero effort. While others leave the room drained by the exhausting labor of posturing and performance, the Stoic observer leaves with more energy than they entered with. You have spent the evening in functional compartmentalization, watching the theater of human ego from a place of detached, quiet amusement. The internal shift. The mindset shift is now complete. The bat does not hide in the shadows because of fear, but because the shadows are where the truth is most visible. You have proven to your nervous system that you do not need the room's approval to exist within it. You have reclaimed your sovereignty. The room is no longer a battleground of impulses or a competition for status. It is a serene landscape where you are the only one who can truly see. The vigil ends, but your power begins. Save this video for your next high-stakes meeting and become the anchor. You are the anchor holding the world in place. Carry this shadow with you as you return to the light. It is your sanctuary, the enduring, unbreakable peace of the sovereign mind. While the world rushes to be heard, you find your strength in being felt.